At 200,000 miles, I've had GMC's 6-speed, 8-speed, and 10-speed apart on my bench, and the winner isn't the smoothest or newest, it's the one you can still fix. I'm Dale, 28 years deep. Here's the trap everybody falls into. More gears looks like more truck. 10 beats 8, 8 beats 6. That's how the spec sheet reads, and how they sell it. But a transmission doesn't live on a spec sheet. It lives under your truck, getting hot, and someday needing a repair. And that day, the question isn't how many gears it had, it's whether anyone can still fix it without gambling your wallet. This isn't a dyno. It's what I see splitting these three open. Let's start with the newest. The 10-speed, the 10L80, is the current one, from 2019 on. And I'll give it every bit of credit it's earned, because on paper it's genuinely impressive. GM built it together with Ford. It's got 10 forward gears, and that means it's almost always sitting in exactly the right one. Best fuel economy of the three, by a real margin. Quickest, smoothest shifts, always in the right gear. If you're just commuting or running the highway, the 10-speed is genuinely the nicest of these to live with, and I won't pretend otherwise. On the drive alone, it's the best of the bunch, no argument. Here's what that sophistication costs you though, and it matters more the higher the miles climb. This is the most complex automatic GM has ever put behind a truck engine. 10 gears means more clutches, more solenoids, a bigger and busier valve body, and an external controller running adaptive logic that's constantly relearning your driving. When you first get one, it can shift rough for the first couple thousand miles until it maps itself to you. That part smooths out, and owners who panic early usually calm down once it learns them. But complexity has a bill, and it comes due later, not sooner. Every one of those extra gears is another set of clutches and another circuit in the valve body that has to work perfectly for the whole unit to behave. On the day it drives off the lot, that's a marvel. At 200,000 miles, it's a longer list of things that can wear. Let me tell you what I actually see. When a 10-speed develops a problem, it's rarely a simple one. There's a torque converter shudder these are known for, a low rumble at light cruise, and it demands the exact right fluid, Dexron ULV, not the older stuff, or you make it worse. There's a mechanical fault where a misstamped spacer plate in the valve body throws a string of codes and mimics other failures, so it gets misdiagnosed and people replace parts that were never broken, chasing a fault that's really a single bad plate. That's the theme with complexity. Even the diagnosis costs more, because there's more to rule out, and more ways for a good tech to be sent down the wrong path. And here's the big one for a 200,000-mile conversation. When a 10-speed needs a rebuild, it's a gamble. The complexity that makes it shift so nicely also makes it genuinely hard to put back together right. Plenty of shops won't touch one. The ones that will can't always promise it'll come back the way it left. I've had owners call around their whole town looking for someone willing to rebuild a 10-speed and come up short, and end up staring at the price of a factory replacement unit instead, which is real money. That's the trap with this transmission. It's brilliant while it works, but when it stops, your options narrow fast, and your bill climbs. A transmission you can't affordably fix is a transmission that can end an otherwise good truck. There's one more honest note. Because the 10-speed is the newest, there simply aren't that many of them at 200,000 miles yet. So part of what I'm telling you is what I already see going wrong, plus what the design tells me is coming. Not a giant stack of worn-out 10-speeds on my floor. What I can tell you for certain is that it's the hardest of the three to fix, and at high mileage, that's the number that counts. Quick thing before the 8-speed. The fluid intervals and service that keep any of these alive past 500,000 miles are in my GMC blueprint. Links in the description if you want it. Back to it. So the 10-speed wins the daily drive. Smoothest, most efficient, most modern. It just asks the most of you when something breaks, and it's the one you're least likely to be able to save on a budget. The 8-speed, the 8L90, is the middle child, from 2014 on, and I have to be honest with you about this one, because it's the problem child of the group. GM came to the 8-speed party late, pushed by fuel and emissions rules, and it showed. This transmission built itself a reputation, and not a good one. Owners describe a hard, clunky shift, a downshift on a freeway on-ramp that feels like something let go under the truck. gear hunting, where it can't decide what gear it wants, and a shudder that shows up early. If you go read the owner forums, you'll see the same advice over and over about the 2015 to 2018 trucks. Be careful. This is the one that gives people trouble. There's a reason it earned that. I've had these come in with owners convinced the transmission was about to fall apart. A bang on the 2-3 downshift hard enough to rock the whole truck, and they're not imagining it. The 8-speed genuinely shifts worse worn than the 6-speed ever did new. It's the only one of these three that developed a bad name on its own merits, and the reputation stuck for a reason. GM knew it too. The number of service bulletins and fluid updates that came out for this transmission tells you the factory spent years chasing the same complaints owners were living with. That's not a transmission that left the line sorted. It's one they were still fixing in the field. Now let me tell you what's actually happening in there, because it's fixable if you understand it. A big part of the 8-speed's trouble is heat and fluid. This transmission runs hot. Its thermostat doesn't let the fluid start cooling until it's already up around 194 degrees, where the 6-speed starts cooling it far sooner. Hotter fluid breaks down faster, and broken down fluid is what causes that shudder and those harsh shifts. The fix that actually works isn't a simple drain and fill. It's a full triple flush with the correct high-performance fluid, following GM's own service bulletin to get every bit of the old contaminated fluid out. Do that properly, and a lot of these transmissions calm right down and behave. And I mean properly. Not the quick drain and fill that gets maybe 40% of the fluid, but the full procedure that cycles fresh fluid through until every drop of the old, cooked, shudder-causing stuff is gone, with the specific high-performance fluid GM calls for. Half measures on an 8-speed are worse than nothing, because the owner thinks he fixed it and the problem's still simmering in there, quietly cooking the fresh fluid he just paid for right back into the old failure. I've watched a proper triple flush turn a truck the owner was ready to trade into one he kept for another 100,000 miles. The fluid is that much of the story on this transmission. So here's the fair verdict on the 8-speed. Out of the factory, it's the weakest of the three, and its reputation is earned. But it's not a lost cause. If you've got one, especially one of those trouble year trucks, the right fluid service can turn a shuddering, hunting mess back into a solid transmission. It takes knowing what's wrong and doing the flush right. Neglect it, and it's the one most likely to leave you stranded. Stay ahead of it, and it'll serve you. So if you own an 8-speed, don't panic and don't dump it, but don't ignore it either. Get the proper fluid service done by someone who knows the procedure, and then keep that fluid fresh on a tighter schedule than you'd run on anything else here. This is the one transmission on the list where your maintenance discipline decides everything. Treated right, it's fine. Treated like a lifetime fluid unit, it becomes the horror story the forums warn about. That's 2 down, and the winner's still coming. Hit subscribe and turn on the bell. Every week I tell you which GM parts are actually worth keeping. And that brings us to the 6-speed, the 6L80, and this is the winner. Not because it shifts the nicest, it doesn't. Not because it gets the best mileage, it doesn't. It wins for the one reason that matters most at 200,000 miles. It's the one you can actually fix and keep alive, for the least money, at almost any shop in the country. Let me make the case. The 6-speed was GM's workhorse automatic for over a decade, from 2006 all the way to 2021. It replaced the old 4-speed family and bridged the gap between the light-duty automatics and the big Allison units. That's 15 years of production, 15 years of GM refining it, and 15 years of every transmission shop in America learning it inside and out. When something that good stays in production that long, it's telling you something. Automakers don't keep a transmission around for 15 years out of sentiment. They keep it because it works, because the warranty claims stay low, and because nothing they tried alongside it beat it on the balance of cost and durability. The 6-speed outlasted its own replacements in the lineup. That's the resume of a survivor. And it's the same story as the best engines GM ever built. The simple, proven one quietly does the job for decades, while the flashier stuff comes and goes. Here's the number that wins it the title. When a 6-speed needs work, it rebuilds. Cleanly. A good shop can take a worn 6L80, go through it, and hand you back a transmission that'll run another 200,000 miles. And that's a known, affordable job, not a gamble. Compare that to the 10-speed, where a rebuild is a roll of the dice, and you see the whole point of this video. When I pull a 6-speed apart at 200,000 miles, I'm looking at a transmission I know how to save before I've even got the pan off. 15 years on the bench, with these means I can tell you the failure by the symptom and the fix by the failure, every time. The clutches wear, the seals harden, maybe the pump or the valve body needs attention, but it's all known, all documented, all fixable with parts I can get tomorrow. There are no mysteries in a 6-speed. 2 decades of shops rebuilding these means every failure mode has been seen, solved, and written down. That's the opposite of a transmission nobody wants to open. And let me be honest about its one real weak point, because no transmission is perfect. The 6 speeds is the torque converter. If it's neglected and allowed to fail, it can send metal debris straight through the pump and take the whole unit down with it. But here's why it doesn't knock the 6-speed off the top. It's a known, predictable failure with an early warning. That same Shudder feel. And if you catch it and change the fluid on time, you head it off entirely. It's a maintenance item, not a design trap. Stay ahead of the converter and the 6-speed simply doesn't quit. The 6-speed is simpler. Fewer gears, fewer clutches, a straightforward valve body, and a controller that isn't trying to outthink you. Simple is what you can fix. Simple is what survives. And it's tough. This is a proven, predictable transmission that's been hauling and towing behind these trucks for 15 years. There's a heavier-duty version, the 6L90, built for the bigger loads, and it's even stouter. Bigger clutches, more capacity, the one you want behind a serious tow rig. Between the two of them, the 6-speed family covered everything from a base half-ton to a loaded 3/4 ton for the better part of 2 decades, and it did it without ever earning the kind of reputation the 8-speed did. It just worked. Truck after truck, year after year. That quiet consistency is the whole reason it wins this. Think about what you're really choosing when you pick a transmission to keep. You're not choosing the one that feels best on the test drive. You're choosing the one that'll still be running and still be affordable to run 10 years and 200,000 miles from now. On that test, the 6-speed wins going away. It's the one with the deepest bench of shops behind it, the cheapest parts in front of it, and the longest track record under it. Nothing else here can say all three. Parts are everywhere and cheap because GM made millions of them. Every shop knows the weak points and how to address them. Nothing about owning one is a mystery or a fortune. You want a torque converter, a solenoid, a valve body, a full rebuild kit. It's all on the shelf, it's all reasonably priced, and there's a builder in every town who's done 100 of them. That ecosystem is worth as much as the metal. A transmission is only as good as your ability to keep it running. And on that measure, the 6-speed is untouchable here. When it does wear, and everything wears eventually, you fix it, and you drive on. You don't stand in a shop being told it's a gamble, or being handed a 4-figure quote for a replacement unit. So does it shift as smooth as the 10-speed? No. Does it get that extra mile or 2 per gallon? No. But at 200,000 miles, when the fancy one is a gamble to rebuild, and the middle one is fighting its own reputation, the 6-speed is the one still working, still fixable, still cheap to keep. That's not the boring choice. That's the smart one. Let me put it the way I put it to my own customers. If you're buying a truck to keep, or you already own one with a 6-speed, that transmission is not a liability. It's an asset, and a quietly appreciating one, because the market is waking up to exactly what I'm telling you. As the newer trucks age and their owners discover what a 10-speed rebuild costs, the simple, fixable 6-speed truck starts looking smarter every year. You're not driving yesterday's technology. You're driving the transmission that's still going to be serviceable long after the fancy ones have become disposable. There's a peace of mind in that most owners never think to value until they need it. You never lie awake wondering whether your transmission is a ticking bomb or whether anyone can fix it, because the answer is settled and cheap, and that word, disposable, is the real divide here. A 10-speed that can't be affordably rebuilt is, in the end, a disposable transmission, and a disposable transmission eventually makes the whole truck disposable. The 6-speed refuses to play that game. You fix it, you drive it, you fix it again if you ever have to, and the truck keeps earning its place in your driveway. That's not nostalgia, that's math. So let me put all three together, because each one wins something real. The 10-speed wins the drive. Smoothest, most efficient, most modern, best in daily traffic, and the most complex. the hardest to fix, and a gamble to rebuild when the miles pile up. The 8-speed wins nothing out of the box. It's the problem child, with the shudder and the hard shifts and the reputation to match. But it wins a second chance, because the right triple flush service can save it and make it solid. And the 6-speed wins the only contest that matters at 200,000 miles, which one you can still fix and keep. Proven for 15 years, rebuildable at any shop, cheap on parts, and tough as they come. It's not the smoothest or the newest. It's the survivor, the one that's still on the road, still working, still worth fixing, when the other two have moved on. And notice the pattern, because it's the same one that runs through every one of these comparisons. The simplest, most serviceable option is the one still standing at the highest mileage. More gears, more technology, more complexity. Every one of those is a feature when the truck is new, and a liability when it's old. The 6-speed has the least to go wrong and the most people who know how to fix what does. That combination is what longevity actually is, not the fewest problems on paper when it's new, the cheapest, surest path back to running when it's old. So how do you know which one you've got, and how do you make it last? 2 quick things. First, identify it. The easiest tell is the shift feel and the year, but to know for certain, check the RPO code on the sticker in your glove box or door jamb, or count the gears on a long, steady acceleration. Your year and that code tell you in seconds whether you're sitting on the survivor, the problem child, or the gamble. Roughly speaking, a 2007 through 2013 truck is almost certainly a 6-speed. The mid-run trucks brought the 8-speed, and 2019 and up is where the 10-speed took over. But the code is the only way to know for sure, so check it before you make any decision about the truck's future. Second, and this is the one service that saves any of these 3, change the fluid on time, with the exact spec that transmission calls for. Not lifetime fluid, which is a myth that cooks transmissions. Fresh fluid at the right interval is the single cheapest thing you can do, and it's the difference between a transmission that reaches the far side of 300,000 miles and one that quits at half of it. The 8-speed needs it most, the 10-speed needs the exact ULV spec, and the 6-speed rewards it by running almost forever. Whatever you've got, clean fluid is how you keep it, and do it more often than the manual suggests if you tow or run in the heat. Transmissions die from heat and old fluid far more than from miles alone. A drain and fill every 30 to 50,000 miles is cheap insurance on any of these 3. And on the 8-speed especially, it's the difference between the good version and the nightmare version of that transmission. There is no transmission on this list that a disciplined fluid habit won't dramatically extend. That's the one lever every owner controls. Not the gear count, not the shift logic, just clean fluid at the right time. Master that one habit, and even the problem child behaves. The gamble lasts longer, and the winner runs closer to forever. So remember the hook. The winner isn't the one with the most gears or the smoothest shift. It's the 6-speed, the one you can still fix when the fancy ones have priced themselves out of a rebuild. If that's what's under your truck, you've got the keeper. And if you want the exact fluid service and intervals that carry any of these past 500,000, that's my GMC blueprint. 1 PDF, no mechanic, no lift, in the description. Hit subscribe. Next week I'm showing you the one service that adds 100,000 miles to any of these transmissions. See you then.